Hello, Joe here from Infiniti of Tacoma. Today I'm going to tell you about this beautiful 2021 Volkswagen ID4 First Edition. This is Volkswagen's true ground-up electric vehicle. They did dabble in EVs before, like they had an e-Golf, an electric version of the Golf, but the e-Golf was a gas car retrofitted to be an electric car, where this ID4 was pretty much designed from the ground up to be an EV. It's very well received by the automotive press. Efficiency, smoothness, quietness, luxury are all things that you get with the ID4. This is a premium luxury vehicle, so even though it's a Volkswagen, you could be comparing this to maybe you might be comparing it to some gas vehicles, like, you know, it might be comparing it to like a BMW X3 or X5 or Mercedes-Benz GLE or GLC. Maybe you're comparing it to some EVs like the Model Y or Mustang Mach-E. We actually have those as well in our inventory. Maybe if I have some time, I would like to do a comparison video, but that's a whole other thing. So the Volkswagen ID4 is definitely one awesome product, and it's right in there with a mix of all the other EVs out there. It's a very competitive field. There's a lot of great choices these days for EVs. So the first edition is kind of like the mid-trim level for the ID4. They have a Pro, and then you have the first edition. I think they call it the Pro S. So like I said, this is kind of like the mid-grade as far as options and features go. Rear-wheel drive is standard. This is a rear-wheel drive version. All-wheel drive is optional. Most people who live in the Pacific Northwest, we don't have much snow here, maybe a couple of times a year in the Puget Sound area. So most people do fine with rear-wheel drive, and I think the rear-wheel drive might be a little bit more efficient than the all-wheel drive counterpart. I'm not 100% sure, but usually that is the case when you have a rear-wheel drive and all-wheel drive with the same battery pack size. Okay, so you have a beautiful interior, synthetic leather. It's perforated. You have the ID, you know, in the seats. I wouldn't say embroidered, but it kind of has perforated into the seats. You have a big Panoramic glass roof panel. You have a power sunshade to dim things down if it does get too bright out. We'll let that close. Nice big navigation screen. Really easy to use. I like to tell people, you know, having a lot of experience with Teslas. Teslas are great EVs. I'm a big fan of the Tesla products. I guess maybe some people might gravitate more towards the ID4 versus the Tesla. Teslas are kind of a little bit of a learning curve. They're very, very different than a regular gas engine vehicle. If you're not really looking to make a huge leap, but you want an electric vehicle, I think the ID4 is a little bit more familiar to people who are comfortable using gas vehicles. It's very similar in a lot of ways to just driving a regular Volkswagen. So, you know, for people that really are kind of intimidated by all the tech and that learning curve of the Teslas, an ID4 might be a good vehicle to consider. Nice, easy to use infotainment system. You have heated seats. We have a rear parking camera, front and rear parking sensors. This is capable of DC fast charging. Volkswagen did help produce one of the first charging networks, Electrify America. Pretty much you can charge this at any EV charger aside from Tesla. Tesla is actually talking about opening up their charging network to non-Tesla vehicles later on in the year. That would be awesome because Tesla has a huge amount of superchargers around here. So with this vehicle, a full charge will get you about 250 miles, but range can vary in EVs. Outside temperature, is it raining? A lot of those things can affect how far you go. Are you driving in the city? Are you driving the highway? EVs actually tend to be more efficient in around the town driving and less efficient in the highway, which is the opposite of gas vehicles. Most people do around the town driving, so I guess that would be preferable. But if you are going to drive for a very long time on the highway at 80 miles an hour, you're not going to probably get the 250 mile range. It'll probably be more like 190, 200 miles. So for most people, 250, 200 miles is great for daily driving. But having that DC fast charging does make this vehicle practical as your only vehicle, because you can DC fast charge and get a full charge in about 35-45 minutes, so you can road trip in this thing. Maybe not quite as easy as a gas vehicle, but there is a learning curve, and there's obviously pros and cons. You're going to save money on gas and maintenance in most instances with an EV versus a gasoline counterpart. It's hard to look on paper, but when you actually get inside the get inside the ID4 and walk around it, it is actually a pretty decent sized vehicle. This is not a little teeny electric car or electric crossover. It's about I would say this is pretty close to what you would call a mid-size crossover. Very spacious on the inside. I'm 6'2". I have that front seat adjusted for my height. I have plenty of headroom and legroom back here. Very, very comfortable for 4 full-size adults. Performance is also very good. 0 to 60 right around 7 seconds. This is your charging cable. So you can set up different charging options. You can set up, this is going to plug into a 110 wall outlet. This is your least efficient way of charging. This will probably add about 3 to 5 miles per hour of charge. So you could maybe get at about 70 or 80 miles of range that way. Ideally, you'd probably want to set up 240 charging in your house, and that would probably add about 30 miles of range per hour. So in most cases, for most people, that will give you a full charge overnight. So your house is like the gas station. You come home, you plug it in, you wake up the next morning, you have a full charge, you have a full tank of electricity. That makes EVs very, very practical. I think they forgot to clean here. Not too much to see here. They forgot to clean it, but basically that's some of the inverter and hardware for the electrical system. I forgot exactly where they put the electric motor in this thing. I think it's actually in the back because this is a rear-wheel drive. And the battery is right in the middle for optimum center of gravity, optimum weight distribution. Really is a nice looking vehicle. Very, very pleasant to drive, very quiet, nice handling. Wonderful vehicle. And EVs, I'm pretty convinced, are the future. I've driven enough EVs. I've been in the car business 20 years. I'm a career car guy. I love cars. I love gas cars. But just after experiencing and driving so many EVs, to me, the writing's on the wall. They're, quieter. A lot of ways they're safer. Maintenance costs are going to be lower. Obviously, you're going to save money on fuel, especially in the world of high gas prices. And the EV technology has come so far over the last 10 years. So, before, when you had like a Nissan Leaf, which was one of the first mass market affordable EVs, the Tesla Model S back in the day, that was like $120,000 car. So only, wealthier people could afford those. But the Nissan Leaf, when that first came out, you only had about a 75-mile range when fully charged. For most people, that would not suffice as an only vehicle. That would be okay as a commuter vehicle, but if you needed to go on a little bit longer drives, that would not really work out as your only vehicle. But today, we have a 250-mile range, DC fast charging, and 240 charging at your home. A lovely vehicle like this can be your only vehicle very, very easily, and you might find yourself saving a decent amount of money versus your gasoline counterparts, and you might find yourself liking this vehicle a lot more than your gas cars. I almost joke around, we do a lot of business of Teslas here. Teslas are very, very popular EVs, but I almost joke around when I drive a Model Y, and then I get into like an older Toyota Corolla that we took in on trade. It's almost like going from the Star Trek Enterprise to a Model T. It's really that stark of a difference. And I can also make that same analogy, for this Volkswagen ID4. When you drive this and then you get into an older gasoline car, you can really start seeing the age of those gas cars. I think EVs are the future. I think more and more people are waking up to it. And what better way to start your life into the EV transportation world than this beautiful Volkswagen ID4 First Edition. Thanks for watching this video. Hope to see you soon, and have a wonderful day.